Hello and very warm welcome at Amish Shackle 5858. I am Amish Shackle. Following news have been reported by American, European, Asian, African, Australian news channels and the news agencies. So please, let's go to the headlines.
The news of the day on Disney Plus. Most watched, most trusted. Now on Disney Plus every night.
Tonight, several developing stories. A cross-country storm that could impact holiday travel for millions. The new warning as tensions rise between the U.S. and Venezuela, and Ukraine's future teeters on the edge as high-level talks are held. First, that storm that's on the move from the south all the way into the northeast. Heavy rain and flash floods. Our weather team tells us where the storm is heading and when. This comes as we enter what could be the busiest Thanksgiving travel period in 15 years. More than 31 million are expected to fly in the next week. Many Americans are also flocking to supermarkets, the new effort to chop prices down to size. Also tonight, the FAA warns pilots of new threats over Venezuela. Several airlines are now canceling flights as President Trump refuses to rule out a U.S. attack after accusing Venezuela of fueling the drug trade. Ukraine's future is on the line as top-level talks are held in Geneva, but there's growing concern over the 28-point peace plan. Some Republicans say it gives Russia too much. An urgent search tonight for one of the Slender Man attackers after police say she cut off her monitoring bracelet. She was convicted of repeatedly stabbing a classmate more than a decade ago. Yet another twist in the Jeffrey Epstein saga. The Department of Justice is once again asking a federal judge in Florida to unseal grand jury testimony from the initial federal investigation into the notorious sex offender. The December deadline is quickly approaching. A shocking attack. Two college football players stabbed just before a big game. One teammate now in custody. An update on the players. Profile courage. President John F. Kennedy's granddaughter shares her heartbreaking diagnosis with uncommon grace. What she wants everyone to know as she battles an incurable disease. And a record-setting weekend. The astronomical price for a piece of history as Wicked for Good soars at the box office.
From ABC News World Headquarters in New York, this is World.
Yeah, the other big story, which is not quite as positive, is what's going on in Chicago. We've been tortured over the last 2 months as President Trump has put in Border Patrol, FBI, ICE officials to try to round up the illegal immigrants that overwhelmed their hotels, overwhelmed their airports. But you had a mayor and a governor who thought ICE was the bad guys. When we realize now, you don't see the mayor having a press conference, you don't see the governor having a press conference because crime is rearing its ugly public face again. And we talked about this, and Secretary Duffy actually put this publicly over the weekend. About this one guy.
In a post, he identified the woman who was the victim in that horrifying burning attack, writing, "It is devastating that a career criminal with 72 prior arrests is now accused of attacking 26-year-old Bethany McGee on Chicago's L train and setting her on fire. This would have never happened if the thug had been behind bars. Yet Chicago lets repeat offenders roam the streets. Chicago's carelessness is putting the American people at risk. No one should have to fear for their life on the subway." This is a really low bar to think that you might be able to get on city transportation and not be burned alive. Obviously, right after this happened, we all knew that he had been arrested some 47, 49 times. Turns out it was 72. It was 72 times. And not only, and there was premeditation here. He went to a gas station, filled up a gas can hours before, attacked her. She got up, she runs after he throws the fuel on her, and then lights her as she's running away. I can't even imagine anything so horrifying.
No, I mean, the laws are, you're right, Brandon Johnson's so worried about ICE there. We need people, we need the National Guard, we need people to protect the good citizens of Chicago. This guy, why is he out? 72 prior arrests? She's burned. She's affected for the rest of her life. Went through so much pain.
Angela, we gotta hold these judges accountable.
Yeah.
I mean, with these judges, how does these judges sleep at night? They think they're being kind to criminals, and they're showing a heart to criminals.
What about this 26-year-old girl?
Well, your first obligation is the citizens obeying the law, not the ones who make their living breaking the law. And clearly, judging by this guy's actions and some of the still photos, he's unbalanced. And he clearly needs extreme care. And instead, he gets banned from going back to the therapist that he was going to. He has a monitor that he cuts off, and then he burns a woman alive. But that isn't the only place where she...
On this Sunday night, grizzly bear hunting ban. A spike in bear attacks, including on a BC school group, sparks debate over whether to allow hunting.
We want to make sure that we keep our women safe.
As officials search for the bear responsible for last week's attack in BC, pushing for peace in Ukraine.
They're not just about Ukraine, they're about European security.
World leaders hail productive talks towards a plan to end Russia's war. Plus, Canada and India restart trade talks after a 2-year freeze. And you better watch out. Santa Claus comes to town for the world's longest running parade.
Global National. Reporting tonight, Jeff Semple.
Good evening and thank you for joining us. Crews in northern BC are still searching for the bear responsible for Thursday's attack on a school group that sent a teacher and 3 children to hospital. It's the latest in a recent string of grizzly bear attacks and encounters in Western Canada. It's now reigniting debate over whether to allow grizzly bear hunting. That practice was banned years ago in Alberta and BC to protect the bear's threatened populations. As Heather Years West reports, the BC Wildlife Federation is now calling for a different approach.
With several people in hospital after a grizzly bear attack in Bella Coola, BC, 2 hikers hurt in Prince George, a man in the East Kootenay dead, and a hunter with serious injuries in Cochrane, Alberta. When it comes to grizzly bear encounters, it has been a tragic and frightening few weeks.
Definitely seen an increase in the number of calls around human grizzly bear conflict, and there's a number of communities across the province who have expressed significant concern about changes in
Hello, you're watching Sky News Today with me, Jane Sanger. It's 3 o'clock. These are the headlines. Senior figures at the BBC are to be questioned by MPs this hour for the first time since the corporation's Director General and News Chief quit. The Prime Minister is to host a virtual coalition of the willing meeting on Ukraine tomorrow, as he says negotiations are moving in the right direction.
Progress, yes. More work to do, but we've all got our sleeves rolled up, ready to put in those hard yards, hopefully to get to the right outcome.
With the budget just days away, Sky News understands the Office for Budget Responsibility will downgrade the UK's growth forecast for every year left in this month. A 600% surge in traffic to a prostate cancer website after former Prime Minister David Cameron reveals he's been treated for the illness.
Many rivers would flow, but I can't seem to find my way over.
Tributes to the legend Jimmy Cliff, who's died at the age of 81. Hello, good afternoon. Senior figures at the BBC are about to give evidence to MPs following the recent...
The head of the Bureau of Meteorology and Defence spending $96 million on the agency's controversial website redesign. After tearing through the top end, Cyclone Feeder moves across the Timor Sea to WA's remote north. The US claims to be making progress with Kyiv after tweeting its contentious Ukraine and peace proposal. And the Formula One competition blown wide open after both Oscar Piastri and teammate Lando Norris are disqualified in Las Vegas. Hello and welcome to ABC News. I'm Joe O'Brien. The head of the Bureau of Meteorology has further clarified how more than $96 million was spent on its new website. The Bureau has faced a backlash over the redesign, with further changes set to come into place in coming days. Political reporter Stephanie Boris joins us now from Parliament House in Canberra. Steph, g'day. So what's happened today?
Hi, Joe. So we'll take a step back to understand why in the first place we're even talking about this. The Bureau of Meteorology launched their new website about a month ago, and it faced a number of criticisms about the new design. People in particular weren't happy about the radar map, saying they couldn't read the places of all the names of places. Farmers weren't happy either with the rainfall data that was available. So as a result of all of these complaints about the new design, questions were raised. Well, how much was spent?
Headline news this hour. A suicide attack in Pakistan's Peshawar city killed a lead security personnel and injured 5 others. Police say the attackers attempted to storm the headquarters of a paramilitary force, but was gunned down after they detonated a bomb at the gate. No group has claimed responsibility, but the country has seen a surge in attacks blamed on Pakistani Taliban. Rains battered Peninsula Southern Thailand for nearly 1,000 more. Malaysia say rivers are burning back. Most 2 Thais have also declared 13 out of the 16 districts in Songkhla province disaster zones, mobilizing an operation to secure hundreds of tourists trapped in Hanoi. The Philippines detained suspects in flood-prone projects. Interior Secretary warning those still at large will be found.
No matter where you are in the world, we will find you. If you are at large, we will find you. If you are hiding in the Philippines, we will find you.
And ahead next hour, East Asia Tonight. Oteli Edwards is here to tell us what we can expect.
Thanks, Paul. Coming up, China calls Japan's plan to deploy missiles in an island near Taiwan an attempt to provoke confrontation, with tensions already high over remarks by Prime Minister Takaichi. Now, at the G20, China takes a driver's seat as the US stays away. Has Beijing just redrawn the map of global influence? Plus, a candid conversation with the Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank's founding president, why Asia's future still depends on working out. And Ukrainians consumer East Asia right here on it.
News. The news.
Vaccine.
Sudan's Army Chief Abata al-Burhan rejected a ceasefire proposal provided by US-led mediators as the yet declares severe to efforts to stop the devastating war that has the country for 13 months. Last week or 2 weeks ago, the mediators presented another proposal. They didn't look at our response, and they didn't consider what we said. So it presented then it's the armed forces, the security agencies, and keep the military they are. It is very bad, and we don't accept. And if the mediation continues in this direction, we will consider it to be biased mediation. In his address on Sunday, Burhan said the proposal was acceptable. The mediation group known as the Quad includes the US, Saudi Arabia, Egypt, and the UAE. Especially for the US President's envoy, Assad Bulo. This Assad talks to us as if he wants to impose some conditions on us. We fear that he will be an obstacle to the peace that we and all the people of Sudan seek. Assad Boulos is saying that we are preventing relief, we are using chemical weapons, and he wants to impose conditions with his proposals. We tell him, your plan is not acceptable. If you want to find a solution for the Sudanese crisis,
go back to the roadmap we proposed. I urged the Sudanese army and the military rapid forces to an agreement.
The United Nations Children's Fund, UNICEF, is now targeting to reduce the cost of malaria vaccine. The new agreement will make the R21/Matrix-M malaria vaccine significantly more accessible and affordable, paving the way to protect more children from one of the world's deadly diseases. According to UNICEF, the lower price of the vaccine, almost $3, is anticipated to take effect in approximately 1 year. The deal, backed by Gavi and executed by UNICEF,
The death toll from floods and landslides across Southeast Asia rose again on Monday, with one person reportedly killed in Vietnam and 5 others in Thailand. That brings the total of dead in Vietnam to 91, with 11 people missing. A week of heavy rain has caused severe flooding and triggered landslides across an 800-kilometre stretch in the country's central region. Damage so far is estimated to be around $500 million for this round of floods. Some waters have receded, but Vietnam is affected. The rains continuing in some places, the risk remains. They also said a new tropical depression is forming that could see weather worsen again later in the week. Severe flash flood in Thailand over the weekend affected nearly 2 million people. 5 people were killed and 4 injured, according to local officials. More than 12,000 people across 9 states in Malaysia have been evacuated. These are fields of green tea sold in a powdered form. Unlike regular green tea, matcha is grown in the shade, a process that boosts its chlorophyll content and enriches it with L-theanine, an amino acid known for its calming effects. In recent years, matcha has gained an international reputation for its unique health benefits. Morocco has been giving the country's famous mint tea a run for its money. I've heard a lot about matcha, so I included it in my daily routine. It has many benefits and contains vitamins that I usually take every day.
Thank you for watching Amish Shakil 5858. I am Amish Shakil. I hope you will visit again. Have a good life. Bye-bye.